What's up, Wildcats? Mr. Walker coming at you with the second reading from The Alchemist. Yesterday we started a big boy book. We're going to read about 168 pages before this thing's over, which is going to be a good book to add to our personal repertoire. And the book started, we know the main character is a shepherd, and he's traveling with his flock, and he's about to visit this girl that he has a crush on. But before that, he uses some money to see a fortune teller because he's been having dreams that he's going to find the treasure in Egypt. So this is where we're at. So we're now on page 15. We're going to try and get to about 30 tonight. Here we go. I didn't need you to waste my time for this, he said. I told you that your dream was a difficult one. It's the simple things in life that are the most extraordinary. Only wise men are able to understand them. And since I am not wise, I've had to learn other acts, such as the reading of palms. Well, how am I going to get to Egypt? I only interpret dreams. I don't know how to turn them into reality. That's why I live off what my daughters provide me with. And what happens if I never get to Egypt? Then I don't get paid. It wouldn't be the first time. And the woman told the boy to leave, saying she had already wasted too much time on him. So the boy was disappointed. He decided that he would never, ever believe in dreams again. He remembered that he had a number of things he had to take care of. He went to the market for something to eat. He traded his book for another one that was thicker. He found a bench on the plaza where he could sample the new wine he'd bought. The day was hot and the wine was refreshing. The sheep were at the gates of the city and in the stable that belonged to a friend. The boy knew a lot of people in the city. That's what made traveling appealing to him. He always made new friends, and he didn't need to spend all his time with them. When someone sees the same people every day, as it happened with him at the seminary, they wind up becoming part of that person's life, and then they want the person to change. If someone isn't what others want them to be, the others become angry. Everyone seems to have a clear idea of how other people should lead their lives, but none about his or her own. He decided to wait until the sun had sunk a bit lower in the sky before following his flock back through the fields. 3 days from now, he would be with the merchant's daughter. He started to read the book he had bought. On the very first page, it described the burial ceremony, and the names of people involved were very difficult to pronounce. If he ever wrote a book, he thought he would present one person at a time so that the reader wouldn't have to worry about memorizing a lot of names. When he was finally able to concentrate on what he was reading, he liked the book better. The burial was on a snowy day, and he welcomed the feeling of being cold. As he read on, an old man sat down beside him and tried to strike up a conversation. What are they doing? The old man asked, pointing at the people in the plaza. They're working, said the boy dryly, making it look as if he wanted to concentrate. Actually, he was thinking about shearing his sheep in front of the merchant's daughter so that she could see that he was someone who was capable of doing things. He'd already imagined the scene many times, every time the girl became fascinated when he'd explained that the sheep had to be sheared from the back to the front. He also tried to remember some good stories to relate to as he sheared his sheep. Most of them he had read in books, but he would tell them as if they were from his own personal experience. She would never know the difference because she didn't know how to read. Meanwhile, the old man persisted in his attempt to strike up a conversation. He'd said he was tired and thirsty, and he asked if he might have a sip of the boy's wine. The boy offered his bottle, hoping that the old man would leave him alone. But the old man wanted to talk, and he asked the boy what he was reading. The boy was tempted to be rude and to move to another bench, but his father had taught him to be respectful to the elderly. So he held out the book to the man for two reasons. First, that he himself wasn't sure how to pronounce the title, and the second, that if the old man didn't know how to read, he would probably feel ashamed and decide of his own accord to change benches. Said the old man, looking at all sides of the books, as if it were some strange object. This is an important book, but it's really irritating. The boy was shocked. The old man knew how to read and had already read the book, and if the book was irritating, as the old man had said, the boy still had time to change it for another. It's a book that says the same thing almost all the other books in the world say, the old man continued. It describes people's inability to choose their own personal legend. And it ends up saying that everyone believes in the world's greatest lie. The boy, what's the world's greatest lie? The boy asked, completely surprised. It's this: that at a certain point in our lives, we lose control of what's happening to us. And our lives become controlled by fate. That is the world's greatest lie. It's never happened to me, the boy said. They wanted me to be a priest, but I decided to become a shepherd. Much better, said the old man, because you really like to travel. He knew what I was thinking, the boy said to himself. The old man, meanwhile, was leafing through the book without seeming to want to return to it at all. The boy noticed that the man's clothing was strange. He looked like an Arab, which was not unusual for these parts. Africa was only a few hours from Turfia. One had only to cross the narrow straits by boats. Arabs often appeared in the city, shopping and chanting their prayers several times a day. Where are you from? The boy asked. I am from many places. No one can be from many places, the boy said. I'm a shepherd, and I've been to many places, but I come from only one place, from a city near an ancient castle. That's where I was born. Well, then we could say I was born in Salem. The boy did not know where Salem was, but he didn't want to ask, fearing that he would appear ignorant. He looked at the people in the plaza for a while. They were busy coming and going, and all of them seemed to be very busy. So what is Salem like? He asked, trying to get some sort of clue. It's like what it has always been. No clue yet, but he knew Salem was in Andalusia. And if it were, he would already have heard of it. And what do you do in Salem? What do I do in Salem? The old man laughed. Well, I am the king of Salem. People say strange things, the boy thought. Sometimes it's better to be with sheep who don't say anything, and better still to be alone with one's books. They tell their incredible stories at one time when you want to hear them. But when you're talking to people, they say some things that are so strange that you don't know how to continue the conversation. My name is Melchizedek, the old man said. How many sheep do you have? Enough, the boy said. He could see the old man wanted to know more about his life. Well, then we've got a problem. I can't help you if you feel you've got enough sheep. The boy was getting irritated. He wasn't asking for help. It was the old man who had asked for a drink from his wine, and it started the conversation. Give me my book, the boy said. I have to go and gather my sheep and get going. Give me 1/10 of your sheep, the old man said, and I will tell you how to find the hidden treasure. The boy remembered his dream, and suddenly everything was clear. The old woman hadn't charged him anything, but the old man, maybe he was her husband, was going to find a way to get much more money in exchange for information about something that didn't even exist. The old man was probably a gypsy too. But before the boy could say anything, the old man leaned over, picked up a stick, and began to write in the sand of the plaza. Something bright reflected from his chest. With such intensity, the boy was momentarily blinded. With a movement that was too quick for someone his age, the man covered what it was with his cape. When his vision returned to normal, the boy was able to read what the old man had written. There, in the sand of the plaza of that small city, the boy read the names of his father and his mother and the seminary he had attended. He read the name of the merchant's daughter, which he hadn't even known. And he read things he had never told anyone. I am the king of Salem, the man had said. Why would the king be talking to a shepherd? The boy asked, awed and embarrassed. For several reasons. But let's just say that the most important is that you have succeeded in discovering your personal legend. The boy didn't know what a personal legend was. And it's what you have always wanted to accomplish. Everyone, when they are young, knows what their personal legend is. At that point in their lives, everything is clear and everything is possible. They are not afraid to dream and to yearn for everything they would like to see happen to them in their lives. But as time passes, a mysterious force begins to convince them that it will be impossible for them to realize their personal legend. None of what the old man's saying was making much sense to the little boy, but he wanted to know what the mysterious force was. The merchant's daughter would be impressed when he told her about that. It's a force that appears to be negative, but actually shows you how to realize your personal legend. It prepares your spirit and your will, because there is one great truth on this planet. Whoever you are or whatever it is that you do, when you really want something, it's because that desire originated in the soul of the universe. It becomes your mission on Earth. Even when all you want to do is travel or marry the daughter of a textile merchant. Yes, or even search for treasure, the soul of the world is nourished by people's happiness, and also by unhappiness and envy and jealousy. To realize one's destiny is a person's only real obligations. All things become one. And when you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you achieve it. They were both silent for a long time, observing the plaza and the townspeople. It was the old man who spoke first. Why do you tend a flock of sheep? Because I like to travel. The old man pointed to a baker standing in his shop window at the corner of the plaza. When that man was a child, that man wanted to travel too. But first he decided to buy his bakery and put some money aside. When he's an old man, he's going to spend a month in Africa. He never realized that people are capable at any time of their lives of doing exactly what they dream of. He should decide to become a shepherd, the boy said. He thought about that, the man said. But bakers are more important people than shepherds. Bakers have homes, while shepherds sleep out in the open. Parents would rather see their children marry a baker than a shepherd. The boy felt a pang in his heart, thinking about the merchant's daughter. There was surely a baker in this town. The old man continued. In the long run, what people think about shepherds and bakers becomes more important for them than their own personal legends. The old man leafed through the book and fell to reading a page he came to. The boy waited and then interrupted the old man, just as he himself had been interrupted. Why are you telling me this? Because you are trying to realize your personal legend. And you are at the point where you're about to give it all up. And that's why you appeared here? Not always in this way, but I do. But I always appear in one form or another. Sometimes I appear in the form of a solution or an idea. Other times, at a crucial moment, I make it easier for things to happen. There are other things I do too, but most of the times people don't realize I've even done them. The pages are stuck. The old man related that the week before he'd been forced to appear before a miner and had taken the form of a stone. The miner had abandoned everything to go into mining for emeralds. For 5 years, he'd been working on a certain river and had examined hundreds and thousands of stones looking for emeralds. The miner was about to give it all up, right at the point when, if he were to examine just one more stone, just one more, he would find his emerald. Since the miner had sacrificed everything to his personal legend, the old man decided to become involved. He transformed himself into a stone that rolled up to the miner's foot. The miner, with all the anger and frustration of his 5 fruitless years, picked up the stone and threw it aside. But he had thrown it with such force that it broke the stone it fell upon. And there, embedded in the broken stone, was the most beautiful emerald in the world. People learn early in their lives what it is their reason for being, the old man said with a certain bitterness. Maybe that's why they give up on it early, too. But that's the way it is. The boy reminded the old man that he had said something about hidden treasures. Treasure is uncovered by the force of flowing water and is buried by the same currents, the man said. If you want to learn about your own treasure, you'll have to give me 1/10 of your flock. What about 1/10 of my treasure? The old man looked disappointed. If you start out by promising what you don't even have, you'll lose your desire to work towards getting it. The boy told him he'd already promised to give 1/10 of the treasure to the gypsy. Gypsies are experts at getting people to do that, sighed the old man. In any case, it's good that you've learned that everything in life has a price. This is what the warriors of the light try to teach. The old man returned the book to the boy. Tomorrow at the same time, bring me 1/10 of your flock, and I will tell you how to find the hidden treasure. Good afternoon. he vanished around the corner of the plaza. That was a cool chapter. That was a cool section. So we're on page 26 now, and we're going to finish this book soon. I'll read another chapter tomorrow. Go Wildcats.